Ethereum in 2022. What are your thoughts?
I got the last quarter wrong last year, so who am I to be the right person to get this one right? My guess, I still think higher. I still think we actually got a strong run to come. I think this kind of year-long sideways correction that we've essentially had is just a springing board to further gains. I still think risk-adjusted, ETH will do extremely well over time, just because, the reason why it's expensive to use is because it's so damn popular, right? And so, it's like a chain of prestige now for things to be built on, because it is the more decentralized of all of the other layer ones. It makes sense to me. I think with the change towards ETH 2.0 coming as well, I think that narrative will build over time as well. So I still think the upside in ETH is massive. In terms of market cap, where could it go? It can go another 10x from here in terms of market cap alone. Over what period of time? Who knows?
Do you think Ethereum will flip Bitcoin in 2022, or do you think it'll flip Bitcoin ever?
Yeah, I think it will. Whether it's 2022 or not, don't really have a strong view. My guess is probably. And again, that shouldn't be taken as, ETH's better than Bitcoin. It's like comparing Apple's market cap with Tesla's market cap. They're just two entirely different things, and that's okay.
Could you explain why you're so bullish on Ethereum as opposed to the other layer ones? Like, what makes it different?
So the other layer ones may well outperform, but you have more risk in them. So we've seen, for example, Solana got tested over this recent sell-off, and the chain's still a bit clunky. It has its own set of problems. And all of these come with different sets of problems. But in the right market, because they're seeing earlier adoption, the rate of change goes up faster. So from going from 1 billion to 2 billion is much easier than going from 10 billion to 20 billion or 300 billion to 600 billion. So rate of change terms, they can perform very well, but they're riskier. So ETH has that balance of being more risky than Bitcoin because it's less decentralized, as we talked about before, less pure, but it still has the massive network adoption that we're looking for, which is the thing that drives prices. And network adoption is just not people buying it, it's people using it and applications being built on it. It's how you connect all the people on the network. And ETH is still far superior than anything else, but these others are coming up from a lower base. So it's that balance of risk reward. I mean, there will be lots of times you'll have FOMO if you own ETH because something else will do a lot better. Now, that's what the Bitcoin investors will say too, is, okay, fine, other chains may outperform, but we're happy with the security and the safety of owning Bitcoin, and that's fine too. There's always a risk curve somewhere across all financial markets. It's a terrible FOMO market. So 1 minute it looks like Solana, next minute you've missed the run in Terra, and then you've missed AVAX, and then you've missed Polkadot. It's a nightmare. So the answer is I literally have no idea. You notice that there's a huge amount of investors who are very bullish on Terra still. A lot of people that I think are very important investors in the space are very bullish on Polkadot still, and they have been for a long time. It's never really done what everybody expected it to do, but you got to keep your mind open to these things. Or it could be something else. Something else comes out of the blue, finds a different use case, and before you know it. So it's really hard to trade this kind of stuff.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
When you call it the greatest trade in the world, to me that means there's a selling point. You buy it, then sell it. That's a trade. Will you be selling the news on ETH 2.0?
It depends whether it goes into the news on a high or into the news on a low. It depends how the price action is. Now, and ETH won't remain the greatest trade forever. Don't forget, I bought ETH, I don't even remember what price. It was a long way ago and a lot lower. So, that's proven itself out. It did 500% last year or 480%. So, you don't have to reprove the trade every year now from my entry price. Will I trade out of ETH into something else? For sure. When? No idea. Or will I just add other tokens, protocols, opportunities, and just keep my ETH holding? I really don't know. I keep it fluid. Unless I see something that fundamentally seems wrong. Maybe the sharding on ETH allows for breakages that we didn't perceive, and it becomes more difficult to use when you go to ETH 2.0 and it takes a while to get it right. well, maybe things move to other chains for a while, and that's fine too. So it's not a crusade for me. It's a opportunistic investment. I think it's a long-term investment. I don't really think, I've already been in the trade for well over a year. Am I likely to be in the trade for the next 3 years? Most likely. Could I sell out of half of it if ETH's trading at 20K? For sure.
I recently heard that you only hold 1 Bitcoin now. My question is, why?
You know the answer to this. Generally speaking, listen, I understand there's a philosophy to the space, and people want there to be Bitcoin at the base center of money, and that may end up playing out over time. But my job is as an investor, not a philosopher. And my job as an investor is to look for better returns. So a long time ago, about a year and a half ago, I switched most of my Bitcoin holdings into ETH, and then I bought a basket of alts to get different exposure to different parts of the market, because you don't really know what's going to get traction and what's not. So over time, I continued to reallocate my Bitcoin into ETH. I always wanted to keep a bit of Bitcoin because you want to, cheer for the team as well. But also, the thing that I get Bitcoin maxes hate me for is this is a network and a community. If you are fundamentally awful to people joining your community, people want to leave. That's just a matter of fact. And if you get picked on every time you say anything that could possibly be perceived as anything negative on Bitcoin, then you, after a while, think, why even bother? Now, you'd bother if it was outperforming, but it's not. And I think the network growth in Bitcoin has been slower than people have expected. And this is one of the reasons. I mean, institutions just don't like this kind of stuff. The toxicity that can exist. I mean, there's tons of good people in Bitcoin. And, I understand the philosophy. And if that's your point of view on the philosophy, great. But don't attack other people, because then it becomes like a religion.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where do you start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.